I've always been interested since little. I've always loved all things about science and everything that's connected to the universe. And my mom also has always been the person that brought me into the world of connectedness, right? That's how I call it. So we're live on Facebook. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. So we're gonna be doing the double streaming here. So we're gonna look into cameras. All right. So today we created a blend called Bold Blend. So let me get the girls here on the live as well. I got you, Teddy. And let me see here. Got Alice here. There we are. So, and then you can see on Facebook, you can see the flyer, and I'm gonna put on my stories. You guys can take a screenshot of the blend that was created. Cool. Hey, Teddy, can you put your Instagram on mute so you don't get that background noise? Thank you. And then Ale can have the mic as well. So for the blend, before Alessandro starts, so if you're just joining us right now, we are going to be talking about the new astrological year and also Sun in Aries. And we built a blend called Bold. And I believe this is something that we can, at least for myself and my peers here, we can all use some more of boldness, being able to be very secure in what we are presenting to the world and how we are showing up, right? Our message and why we're showing up for what. So I think that has a lot to do with that, what Alessandra is going to share. And we did a blend that is very grounding, but also very courageous. And we used balanced vetiver, galbanum, cinnamon, ginger, green mandarin, and lavender to kind of make it more round. So we're going to be covering some of these, the benefits of these essential oils and why we put those together. And each of us will cover a little bit of the physical and also the spiritual, more energetic benefits of these plants. And I love to make the connections to the animal kingdom, right? Because we're all connected. Everything is connected. And Ale is going to explain a little bit more about how this astrological year is starting. So welcome, Ale. Thank you so much for your presence here and your love. Always super happy to have you here.
Thank you. I love to be here, always with you guys, the girls. I feel already like the team in the team, in the team Hawaii, the team US. And thank you for having me. And hi, Anaí, my friend from Costa Rica. Costa Rica is here as well. And I want to talk about New Year because it's the most important date for astrology. It's going to be on March the 20th. But I cannot start talking about the New Year without talking about the full moon that we are going to have on Friday. A full moon that already appears like a full moon. It's hard to believe that it's going to be full only in the night from Thursday to Friday. It's already so bright in the sky. I'm sure that Pamela there with her walks, she can see it. And because this full moon is the last full moon of this year, since we are beginning a new year on March the 20th. And as we were talking in the last talks that we have a very strong year in Pisces, in the Pisces energy, because we have a very important conjunction in Pisces that's going to be on April 12th, which are the two planets that rule Pisces are going to be in Pisces. This happens each 165 years. So it's very important when we have an aspect that takes so long to repeat itself. So Pisces is very strong in the sky for the good and for the bad. So this last full moon is with the sun in Pisces and the moon in Virgo. The full moon is always between two signs that are opposite and complementary. So it's going to be on the degree 27, the sun in Pisces and the moon in Virgo. So everybody that has something around this degree in your birth chart, even in Pisces or in Virgo, it's going to feel this full moon very intensively. So this full moon is going to be full of Pisces energy with a lot of emotion, spirituality, intuition, but also chaos, the chaos, the confusion, the illusion, even the lies. Everything seems much bigger than it is. There is a lot of illusion. We lost our perspective, our objectiveness. So everything is very subjective. Everything is very illusion. And since it's full moon, and full moon tends to expand everything. You see the animals in the full moon, they get more active. We get more, our emotions get more overwhelmed for the good and for the bad. So it's very romantic as well, and it's very inspirational as well, because Pisces is a sign that is connected to arts, to creativity, to everything that is subjective. So we're going to feel this full moon very intense, and also craziness, and the addiction to medicine, as we talked in the last live. People can be completely lost, okay, because we are not grounded in general. The energy is not grounded. That's why we need this blend to be grounding, okay? We are like floating. That's the sensation. Everybody's floating. Even people that are more earthy types, as I include myself, we sometimes get distracted and floating. And even now when I'm trying to talk, I feel a bit of confusion. So that's the vibe. And we have just to go with the flow, because if we go against that, it's worse. So full moon, and 2 days after the full moon, is still with the energy of the full moon, we have Sun entering Aries. New year for astrology. It's important to explain that why Aries is the beginning of the spring season in the North Hemisphere, because astrology started thousands of years ago in cities that were in the North Hemisphere. So that's why the reference are the seasons in the North Hemisphere. So a lot of people in the South Hemisphere ask that, but that's the way it is since it started in cities that have this reference. Okay. Aries, first sign, assertive, brave. It has the fear, but it faces the fear, loves to start new things. So it's a very good energy to start things. Impatient, many times can be aggressive. We need to take care of this because it's like a pure energy. Aries is like the first fire that comes. So we need to get more the energy of Aries in assertiveness than of aggressive, but it can become very aggressive. We are in the middle of a war. So things with the sun entering Aries, things can be more aggressive, okay, if that's possible. Also with this full moon, since everything becomes more expanded, we can have an expansion of the violence as well, okay? So usually when we have the new year, we have a lot of energy in Aries. But this year, when I did the map for the entrance of the sun in Aries, we still have a lot of planets in Pisces, okay? So it's like we get Aries energy, but not so much yet, okay? It's going to be until May that Jupiter jumps to Aries, that we are going to feel more this Aries energy. And then Mars go to Aries as well, and then we are going to feel more the Aries impulse. So it's like we are starting a new year, we have the Aries energy, but we are still very dreamy, we are still very emotional, we are still very sensitive, we are going to be still in the very much Pisces energy, okay? So we have to be patient, because some people think, okay, March 20th, everything is going to be resolved. I now have all this energy, and it's not going to be like that. We have a little jump of energy, but we still have a lot of things in Pisces. So we have to be patient with that. Okay. Get advantage on the Pisces good part of spirituality, of kindness, of empathy, intuition, inspiration, creativity, romance. Okay. So another thing that is important, that on the map of the new years, we have Mars and Venus, which are being together since February, which is the god of love, the goddess of love and beauty, which is Venus, with the god of war, which is Mars. And it also represents the feminine and the masculine, okay, energies. And we've been with this dance since February. They were in Capricorn, so we had a lot of things to do with talking about our relationships, reviewing the relationships, talking about going deeper in the relationships, going more with more responsibility towards our relationships. And since the new moon, they jumped to Aquarius. Okay, and Aquarius, we know it's a sign very connected to the collectiveness, to friendship, to groups, to associations, okay, to liberty. And this Venus in Aquarius that wants to be very independent and wants to be very, even rebellion, she is doing a difficult aspect with Saturn. So it's like with Uranus, I'm sorry. So it's still a kind of war between freedom and things that you cannot do, or surprises at the last minute, things that can change very quickly in the relationships. Because we are talking about Venus. Venus rules our relationships, our love relationships. And we are talking about Uranus, which is the planet that loves to give us surprises and last minute surprises in rerouting. So we have to be also, how can I say, alert and patient again, right? And it's funny because we spent the whole last year with a very difficult aspect between Uranus and Saturn. And they were fighting in the sky the whole 2021. And when 2022 came, I was hoping that this tension was not in the sky anymore. It still is, but with Venus, not with Saturn anymore. So when something repeats like this, I think that is a lesson that needs to be learned. So maybe we did not learn the lesson from 2021, and we still need to review this relationship between liberty and what you can do, what you cannot do, what is your liberty and your partner, up to when it goes your liberty and starts your partner liberty, and all this communication, or everything that we need to talk, because Venus in Aquarius tends to be sometimes could be very selfish, because it just thinks about liberty and I'm going to do things like I want to do, and does not think about the other person. Okay, so we need to be careful with that. And since this aspect is in the map of the new year, so it's going to be the whole year with this energy as well. Okay, so a lot of dreamy, a lot of illusion, a lot of Pisces energy, a little bit of fire, not so much as we wanted. That's why it's very important that this blend has a lot of courage, because we will need it. And also something important about when we have a lot of Pisces in the sky is that some fears, they are not logical. They are not even real. It's like everything gets so big, but in an illusion way. It's not in a true way. It's like, it's not real. We fear something and we don't know why we are fearing that so much. And it's not rational. It's all about confusion. Okay, so we need to be careful about that. So let's get this blend of courage and earthy and grounding to get in touch with what is real and what is imagination, because it's going to be a lot of imagination. Okay, especially the end of this week with the full moon. Okay, so let's be very alert between Friday and Sunday, where it's going to be the New Year's. Okay, because with the full moon, everything gets even bigger. Okay, Pam, do I have time to talk about the eclipses dates? Yes. Okay. Eclipses. We have always in the axe. This year, the 4 eclipses are going to be in the axe Taurus, Scorpio. It's always in 2 signs that are complementary and opposite. It happens every 9 years, but with this aspect, it's every 18 years. So the last time that we had this axe in the same position in the eclipse were in 2003, 2004, okay? So for whom wants to take notes, we are going to have the first one on April the 30th, then May 16th, then we have on 25th of October, and then we have on November the 8th. Important things. In Brazil, the one that's going to be visible is the one of May the 16th. And in Hawaii, it's going to be the only place that's going to see the full moon eclipse of November the 8th. It's going to be over Hawaii, okay? Eclipses, they used to be treated as difficult periods. People used to fear a lot them, but nowadays we know that it's not to be felt like that. It's a time where things going to the shadow, because we have everything gets dark and then it gets lighted again. So usually what happens is things that are in the dark get exposed. Okay, it's very related to the countries where the eclipse happens. And also, I saw if Anaí is asking about Costa Rica. I'll send you, Anaí. I don't think Costa Rica will see a complete one, okay? But I'll check and send it for you. So governments, people in power, usually it was related to the kings and to wars and things like that. For us, mortals, normal mortals, would be, we have to check in our birth chart where we have this axe, Taurus, Scorpio. Pamela and I have it very strong in our chart, right, Pam? So, and the houses where they are, okay? So the houses will be the thing, the area in life where the eclipse will happen, okay? But suggestion for those dates, meditate, try to be on your own if possible. Take a few minutes to, if it's going to be visible in the place where you are, great. But take a moment to breathe, to meditate, to be in peace, to think the things that you want to be clear after the light comes again. Okay, and do not fear. It's not a matter of fear. It's just a matter of how we vibrate. Okay, so let's vibrate in a good way. And this axe is related to Scorpio, is with the South Node. So it's with the past. And it's pretty much related to the last years of pandemic that we have, a lot of losses and even death. Scorpio is related to the end of things, to the end of cycles, okay? But the North Node, the node that we have to look for, is in Taurus. And Taurus talks about work, prosperity, production, things that we want to get done, materialized, concrete. So let's vibrate in the Taurus North Node, looking for Taurus, and being able to close that cycle that is in the past, as Scorpio does so well. To close something, to be born something new. Okay? I think that the most important things are here. I don't know if you have any questions.
So I took notes, lots of notes, and I love it because we're gonna do this in Portuguese, right, next week. But I love that we understand that right now, if you're feeling extremely or oversensitive, you're not alone. I think everybody's feeling that. If you're feeling extremely confused, you're not alone. A lot of us are feeling that. And even in delivering the messages has been a challenge.
Difficult. Yes.
Yeah, just to get things out, just to get things, make your point across. Words, sometimes I'm super lost for words, and I talk a lot, so it's not very normal for me to not have words to be able to explain things. So this has been happening over and over again. And then you touched on war, right? And how you also mentioned some things are happening for us to maybe be able to look at the lessons that were not learned. And I think it has a lot to do with that. It's almost like history repeats itself. And have we not learned anything in the past 20 years, right? So you said 2021, I'm going to go ahead and take it a little bit further and go like at least 20 years ago, right? But of course, we're not going to talk about politics. I don't talk about politics. I do if we see each other, and but I don't do it in public spaces because it's a very touchy subject. And I think it's something that you can talk about for a long time, so we can, at the end of the day, come to an understanding, right? Because we're all people, we're all humans. We all, for the most part, at least the people I know, we all want peace. Exactly. And we are not, one thing for sure, we're not for war. But also I have a very clear understanding on what's happening right now. But so
let me just say two things before I forget, because of this business of the Pisces about this subject, sorry, is that take a look if it's not the most confusing war in terms of information. The images. Of course, every war we have propaganda, okay? We know that, okay? But a war inside a cycle so strong in Pisces, it's very emotional. People are helping a lot. This is the good side, okay? But there is a lot of illusion and a lot of lies and a lot of misinformation. So this is one thing. And the other thing that I always like to think positive, when we have this cycle, the last time that was in 1856, the year 1856, we had a peace treaty. There was a war in Crimea, same region, for the last 3 years, and they found the peace, the negotiation inside the cycle. So I believe that until April 12th, I don't have the power to see the future, but I think that it's a good sign that on April 12th, we have this exact aspect, and we had already in the past a peace treaty being done in a cycle like that. So let's hope it repeats again, and let's hope that it's a short war, if we can say that, because for the people that are there, of course, it's not short. But anyway, so that's the thing that I didn't want to forget.
Yeah, but just like you said, you know, like the media has showed things about the entire situation that are very illusional.
You cannot trust, yeah, but you cannot trust. It's interesting because it's so, you feel very emotional because you see things and then you ask yourself, is this true? So it's very confusing. But anyway, let's hope that the good side of this aspect comes up and it repeats itself with a peace negotiation.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, like I said, I think I know for myself and for all of us that are here, we want peace for all, because the people that caught in the middle have nothing to do with it, really, right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
there is no such a thing as good war,
Exactly.
So and I grew up in an organization that's very passionate about talking about no war, and so that's the way that I grew up. And there is no, I heard this growing up my whole life, our mentor, he always, there's no worse act in life than war. He said that, and he's from Japan, so he went through a whole lot of this crazy wartime, right? So it is, and that's the reason why we keep bringing up all these tools for us to be able to, because the peace that you find within is the peace that you bring out of you, right? So I believe that for myself, I speak for myself, and I know for my friends here, because we live this lifestyle together, is if I can find the peace within, then I can then help other people do the same. And this is one of my tools, right? This is actually one of my main tools, I would say, is to connect, to keep connecting. And you also talked about the illusion a lot. And that's another thing that keeps coming up a lot in my past like 2 weeks, in all the talks that I've had. Some of you are here. We talked about Maya. And if you're not familiar with that, it is in Buddhism and Hinduism, it's illusion, and it means the translation of Maya is fraud, deceit, trickery. That's what it means. So that's the illusion that makes us distract and deceive our senses, so we lose connection to our consciousness, which is ultimately your higher self or God or whatever you believe in, right? So that's At the end of the day, that's what matters. That's it. So regardless of what's happening around you, I think we go back into our pure consciousness, because that is the hardest thing to do, to be able to be in this consciousness all the time. We're humans, and we go through all these ups and downs and all this illusion, but we come back to understanding that we have this power of being able to come back and be able to connect universally. Like I said before, we're all connected. Everything is connected, right? So, and that is the point of us doing the oily hours, us bringing the connections of the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom, and be able to connect all the elements, because we're part of it. So, and the more we're able to recognize that, the more we're able to be in harmony.
And that connection is very Pisces as well. Pisces, it blends with everything. It mixes with everything. So it's very Pisces energy as well to do this, all this.
The connections, right? But also very emotional. I know my grandma is Pisces. She turned 95 2 weeks ago, and also very humanitarian, right?
Yes.
So they love to do humanitarian work, and I've learned that from my grandma. She always been a big humanitarian example for me. So I grew up with my mom and my grandma doing a lot of humanitarian work. They demolished their home to build a temple where people would come and learn about Buddhism, to promote nonviolence in the community after my father was murdered in a holdup in our business right there. And so was my grandpa, right? He was a victim of violence as well. So that was the mission behind our efforts. And regardless of your religion, at the end of the day, I think all religions want the same thing.
Exactly.
So then from what you had shared with me, this blend called Bold, it's going to be on my stories. You can take a screenshot of it after. I created 2 drops of each: balanced vetiver, galbanum, and cinnamon, and then 5 drops of ginger, green mandarin, and lavender. And Teddy is going to share a little bit about some of these oils, and then Christina will as well. And then it's going to make sense why we put those in. And I've been using it. I use it as perfume. So that's it's been super helpful. It's very interesting once you start using these tools, the way that you navigate life is different. it's not that we don't have problems. We all have problems where you deal with it differently.
It's
And
the way
another
that
big
we
one that you
deal.
mentioned, rerouting and surprises. So if you've had we're all having crazy surprises happening, right, in the past couple of years, but rerouting is a big one right now. So if you feel it, if you're here and you feel it, does rerouting feel like something that you're going through? Because I am, especially with the relationships. So you mentioned relationships as well, and who you want to go deeper with, and who you don't, has been
Yes.
very clear to me, and it's
Yes.
beautiful. You know, I still love, but I understand how I can serve, and maybe I can't, and I'm very aware of that, and I'm okay with that too. You know, maybe I can't serve this person, so and I'm okay with that, and
Yeah.
vice versa. You know.
Yeah, I just wanted that this aspect were more fluent than tension, but it is what it is. It's in the sky, it's in a tension way, but I always learn that even the worst aspects, the most difficult ones, they're here to teach us something. So they are not so smooth. There is a lot of pain involved usually, but they are for us to grow and to learn.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy, and it is painful, especially when it comes to relationships that you've held for a few years. I think those are the hardest, but then you
Absolutely.
accept, and then the acceptance also feels really good. You know, I've been using a lot of bergamot to accept, and then it's been, and then also there's the great part of the whole thing is that the people that are meant to be with you will be with you. You know,
Yeah.
and then those relationships get stronger, and then you focus on that, and you give yourself to that, and that's where you put your time and resources and love, because then it makes more sense, you know, and then it's amazing, and you flourish
And
together
you
and you bloom
know,
together, and that's the positive.
a good thing that I'm thinking right now is that we have all this confusion and we have a lot of water elements in the year still, but these acts where the eclipses are going to be, they are from a fixed nature. So the sky knows what it does. It takes from one side, but it gives in another way. So it's this acts, it's an act of maintenance as well. So after you pass all the changes and maybe all the surprises and all the revisions and everything that needs to be changed, you have an act that is from maintenance, is from cleanness, which is in the past, it cleans, it shuts down, but it's also Taurus, it's a sign of maintenance, of getting it and maintaining it. So that to keep it, to nurture it. So once you pass the surprises or the things that you need to change, the things that you need to clean, we have to remember that the North Node, where we are looking at, it's something fixed and it's something to be kept.
Yep. I love it. Ale, thank you so much. I always love your insights on all of the connections and the alignments. And next week we're going to do it in Portuguese, and I'm excited for that one. And it's going to be on my other profile. So if you have friends in Brazil, Portugal, Angola, places that speak Portuguese, everybody's welcome to join. And it's going to be on the feed after for you to watch if the time does not work out for your time zone. And this one also, as all the other ones, are saved, and it's cool because we get hundreds of views after. You know, the oily hour gets hundreds of views afterwards. So we keep it on here because I believe it's super helpful to kind of go back and use it for reference. I've done that a few times myself. So Ali, thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you. Thank you, girls.
Thank you. So based on what Ali shared, Sasha's going to jump on here with us. We're going to talk about some of the essential oils that you can use for this time. Okay. So Teddy, do you want to get the first few that we've picked?
Sure. So I'm going to cover balance, and balance is actually one of my favorite oils. I definitely use it daily as part of my meditation practice. And The recommendation is, you put it on the bottom of your feet, but I put it on my feet, and I also like to just put it on my wrists or my chest because I really love the way that Balance smells. It's very woodsy. It's a blend of spruce leaf, ho wood leaf, frankincense resin, blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus flower. And then it's in a base of fractionated coconut oil. So it's a proprietary blend that doTERRA makes. And it was one of the first oils that I was introduced to, and I absolutely love it and still use it to this day. And you can diffuse it as well. You can get a massage with it. And it's just has a very tranquil aroma. And again, in these trying times, we definitely can use the Balance, right? I'm a very emotional person as well. So I need balance daily. And the second oil I'm going to cover is ginger. Now, ginger, again, I use ginger daily. I actually put a drop in my tea in the morning. I either drink a green tea or I'll drink a yerba mate tea. And I love a drop of ginger and a drop of lemon in my tea first thing in the morning. It's just, very, very soothing. And I like to just eat ginger. When we go out for sushi, I eat everybody's ginger because I could just eat it like a salad. So I definitely love the taste of ginger. I like that spicy bite to it. And one fun fact about doTERRA's ginger is that where we source it from, from 4 different places, right? So we source it from, where was that at? Tanzania. Where were the other places? Where were my notes? I'm not prepared.
Get your notes out.
Yeah. But I do know it takes a pound of ginger to make one 15 milliliter bottle. So, and here in Hawaii, ginger grows, a lot of people are growing ginger. But when you think again about how much ginger is used to produce a bottle, when you think about it, it's 1 pound. So the fun facts again.
But Teddy,
yeah.
Teddy, do you remember when we learned they talked about how they do it in Madagascar, right? And the difference between the doTERRA essential oil compared to some other ones is that they do the distillation when the ginger is fresh. And all of the other ways that people do it, they wait for it to be really dry. They're dried because it's cheaper, right? To keep it dry and then do the distillation. We do it from fresh rhizome. So that was I thought that was really cool. I think that's why the scent is very unique and very fresh when you use it, right?
Yeah.
And it's also the oil of empowerment. So, and the reason why we put it in this blend was to ground. It's in the earth, right? And also it's spicy, so it gives you that determination, that like sassy, kind of like Slim and Sassy.
Yeah, and ginger is actually in there's a dozen different products that doTERRA makes where you can find the ginger in as well. So
love that. So Teddy, are you covering Balance and ginger only today?
Yeah, I'm just covering those two.
So in the emotions book, ginger is called to inspire people to really recognize that the creators of their own lives. And so when we're looking at this eclipse and we're looking at the mystery where Scorpio, which is like this, the scorpion, it digs deep into the earth, right? It's comfortable with the darkness. Like as we're coming into the light, like using that Taurus energy to ground us in how we really want to manifest after that eclipse. And I just love that ginger complements that really well. Yeah, wanted to add that.
Yeah. Christina, do you use ginger? How do you use it?
I love ginger also in tea, like you mentioned. And actually one of my favorite things is I can't get over it. And I'll never forget when I went over your house one time and you made this delicious drink, which was just a water infused with pineapple and ginger. And it was like so good. That's my favorite way to use ginger, honestly. Like it's just really delicious. Yeah, it's a great warming oil. And so it's great in making your own diffuser blends also to help with that emotional thing, but also in just like a blend. So it's not just ginger coming at you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and it's
really
such a
great in
Hawaii
cooking
feel,
also.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it a Hawaii feel kind of, I love like anything ginger. And Christina, go on with you're
Yeah,
covering something super special too. And you had a
right.
story about it today.
I was gonna go on what Sasha was just talking about with grounding during this time and just really rooting oneself in this time of chaos, and that's what the vetiver is in the blend that Pam has created for us. So vetiver, for those of you who don't know, is actually like in the grass family, and so it has really deep strong intense root system. And it's a very medicinal oil that we can get from these roots. So the thing is that you there's a very big possibility to acquire these oils from the plant by completely removing the plant from the ground, and then it's just not sustainable. However, doTERRA has this amazing co-impact sourcing program, and they actually offer incentives to our farmers for making sure that they can keep the plant viable while harvesting the roots of the vetiver plant. So it's amazing. It's harvested in Haiti, and it takes about 3.5 pounds of that root to make this vetiver. And it's a super thick oil. It's really hard to show, but it's very thick. And actually, the best thing to do is to remove this dropper. Yeah, because it's just a beautiful oil, and the best thing is to actually put a dropper style top on it so that you can get your vetiver easier. It's a fantastic grounding oil, and so when we do have life scattering energy and we feel split between our priorities and people and activities such as happening during this time, especially, then we can use vetiver to bring ourselves back down to earth and really get rooted again in what is important for ourselves and our souls, right? So we can bring that energy and higher vibration to others. And it's so important, you guys, like get out there and start communicating and spreading your love to people when you can, because that's what we're missing. And I keep on literally getting people telling me that I'm giving off such a calm aura, which is like such a compliment for me. So I love it when I hear that. I love it when people thank me for my smile because I'm not wearing my mask at the store, because I feel confident that I'm okay and that I'm not endangering others. So to spread my smile is more important, and to spread the love in the community is more important to me. And I've received so many compliments on that. I think it's important during this time of scatteredness to all come together in love. So
Oh, I
this
love
blend will
that,
help us
Christina.
be
That's
bold with our
beautiful.
choices.
It's beautiful. It's bold, but it's kind, right? It's bold, but
Yes.
it's loving. It's bold
Right. And
and
that's what we need, right? Like you were mentioning earlier, this world needs the kindness. There's so much going on and we're all so scattered. Let's all be kind to each other and remember what we're all going through right now. We are all scattered. We are all having a hard time communicating. So let's be aware of that. Let's be kind and not so aggressively responsive with others.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love vetiver.
Yeah,
I use
Ali
vetiver on
just
my
wrote in
feet.
the Ali just wrote in the text, in Costa Rica, vetiver is used to avoid floods. So it's actually used physically to help avoid erosion. And I mean, with this influx of water in the chart, in the cosmos, why not use that symbology for ourselves.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And if you have access, because it's a Pisces situation, if you do have access to salt water, please go use that energy.
Good tip.
Yeah,
Good tip.
Every day here, guys, we put our feet in the water. Every day.
it's the best.
Yeah.
Especially if you live at the beach, though. There's no excuse. You have to
Yeah,
make
you got
use
to
of
take
it.
advantage.
Yes.
So I'm covering cinnamon, and I don't use cinnamon a lot, but I think mostly because it's a hotter oil and it's spicy, and I already feel like I'm pretty spicy myself sometimes. But it's the oil of sexual harmony, and it's the oil that helps with any sexual disharmony or reproductive disharmony. And it also helps assist individuals in relationships where insecurities are shown, or when we feel maybe overwhelmed with jealousy, control, insecurities, right? So it actually encourages the soul to let go of control and allow others to be free. And I think about when we spend time in water, right? And we have to really respect the water. Like, we have to respect the emotions. We have to respect the power of water, whether it be the ocean, or just our feelings. And so I really like the idea of using cinnamon to help just humble myself with those feelings and allow them to move through. So I think that's the idea with that. It also invites us to be more honest and more vulnerable. So at the time of these eclipses, while we're, leaving the darkness in the past, let's be sure to acknowledge like what's really going on, the mystery, the patterns that we want to leave behind. And then as we're moving into Taurus, the seeds that we want to plant. And yeah, I'm so excited about these eclipses and actually using these oils in unison with the cosmos, because I haven't really done that at all yet. So that's cinnamon.
Yeah, I love it. I do cinnamon every day. That's my everyday oil. So I do cinnamon in my coffee, and I already have a lot of energy and I'm spicy, but I love the physical benefits of cinnamon to regulate blood sugars, right? So I like that, and that's why I do it. At the same time, though, I put it in the blend, and a lot of the blends I create, I add cinnamon to it, and the reason being is Ali put here that Taurus and Scorpio acts also focus on sexuality. So sexuality and that area of our bodies, right, which is the sacral chakra, or it's just the wheel of energy of that area, which is connected to our uterus, and that's connected to creation, that's connected to creativity, that's connected to life, it's connected to fun, and the color of it is orange. So if we're talking about being bold, that wheel of energy has to be pumping, right? That wheel of energy has to be alive and creative and happy and fun. Otherwise, you're not creative, you're not creating, you're not being bold. You're being the opposite of that. So cinnamon is to activate that energy, and also to regulate blood sugars, because what happens when you have an imbalance on blood sugars? You're not in the best mood, right? If you don't eat for a long time, you get hangry, which is that combination of angry and hungry. And also, if you couple it with what she said about Aries, right? My mom is an Aries. My mom can get aggressive, but because of her Buddhist practice, she's been able to tame it and know how to control her aggressiveness and put it into creativity. So I've had my mother as my biggest example of turning aggression into something positive, right? So, and that's why it's in there. We also
And
added.
I think the key that you just said there is also through meditation. So it takes work to change, right?
Hold on. Yeah, and that's something that she's mastered, right? She's mastered meditation. She taught us how to do it.
That's awesome.
And you know what's really sweet too is the fact that my little one was meditating here, chanting before we started our oily hour. I was showing the girls. He sat there, hit the bell, and started doing the chant that we do. So I think that's really, really powerful, right? It came from my grandmother, that came to my mom and to me, and then now to my children. And again, reminding ourselves that the work that we do is not for us, because we're not going to live on this planet forever, right? We're gonna leave this plane. So to remember that for me, my intention is that the work will live on after we're not here anymore. That's for me the most important work. Then we added I added green mandarin to the mix, and that's because, well, we're in Hawaii, and I'm using it as perfume. Green mandarin does not react to the sun as the other citrus essential oils do. So that's why I added that in there. But if you prefer like wild orange or tangerine or any other citrus oil or a lemon, you go ahead and do that, or even petitgrain. But remember that sun and citrus oil is not a good combo. I just did something this weekend and it's already disappearing. But hey, baby boy, do it on the futon, please, because then mommy cannot hear aunties, okay? Thank you. So I did the green mandarin, and it's also the oil of significance. So for you to get significance on everything that you do. And I believe when I feel that some of the work that I do means something to people, I do it more boldly. And again, coming back to being bold and courageous, right? So green mandarin is also connected to the sacral chakra. So anything citrus is connected to that area because it's happy, it's creative, it's light, right? And that's where it comes from. I added Brave. Brave is a blend that we have in doTERRA. And we're talking about oils not only for adults. I will always emphasize the children need it just as much. They're humans and they get affected just as much as we do. So the combination of the Brave blend comes in the kids kit, and it has the best combination of oils as far as aroma. And it's combination of wild orange. It has osmanthus, which is a flower, cinnamon again, right? Amyris, which is also a very the aroma is incredible, and fractionated coconut oil, and that is specifically to be able to tackle life's big or small moments, especially if they're going back to school or starting a new activity, or not feeling motivated. So Brave is, as the name says, it's brave. Brave is to be bold. So you can do, again, this perfume. Remember the sun factor too, but it will encourage positivity and courage and reassuring we can accomplish anything. So that's what it's for. And the last two I'm gonna mention is pines. So if you have any pines, you can do Siberian fir, Douglas fir, anything. It's trees, right? So my gosh, he's going crazy here, guys. Sorry. I'm just gonna let him.
Tell he's having fun.
He's let's say that. Yes, he's definitely. He's having a blast here.
So what about the pines?
Pines, it gives a self-esteem boost, more confidence. And I added cypress because I want flow. So cypress is the oil of flow, right? For us to be able to flow and have things move, and especially if you're feeling stuck. So cypress for me is a daily as well. I have it in the shower, and I kind of bless the walls of the shower to start my day, and I do it for the children too, so everybody can flow. Okay, but you can do like Siberian fir, for example, to be able to access generational wisdom. So I do that. I like Siberian fir because I do believe I get a lot of downloads from, especially my grandmother who passed, and I do get a lot of that from her, and also my living grandmother and my mom. So I think generational wisdom is really powerful, right? But it's also to boost your self-esteem, and then you have more confidence, and then on top of all the other benefits as far as benefits for the body, right? But it's an empowering type of plant. Pines are very powerful, okay? And then the last one is this one, galbanum. So you know how some of you have, who's got this this
I
cute
do.
little box, right? And it's halfway gone, all of them. But I forced myself to use it, and I forced myself to learn about these oils that are the oils of the Bible. Like I said, I'm Buddhist, but I believe in the wisdom that's been shared through all types of faith. And in the Bible, this oil, the reason why I put it in there for being bold, this oil was mentioned in the, I have a note here. So it was mentioned in Exodus 30:34. And it said, take unto these sweet spices and onycha and galbanum, the sweet spices with pure frankincense of each shall there be like weight. So this is, it suggests that this oil specifically, right? It's very earthy and very cleansing. It was used as holy incense. The scent is not, it grows on you. Yeah, Sasha and I were talking about that. It grows on you. Yeah, it's not, it's somewhat fragrant, but it's not as fragrant as the other resins that we have. So, and this has been linked also to perfume and fragrances for love. And it's also a little spicy. So that's why boldness, spice, and because it's also cleansing, and I think it's a good element to add to that blend. Okay. And one last thing about cypress, again, it's the flow, the oil flow. But I made another note here that it's so a tree so durable that the doors of St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome are made from it and show no signs of decay even after 1200 years. So
Wow.
really, really powerful. And it's also mentioned in the Bible. So cypress is also mentioned, I think, in Isaiah. I didn't make a note of that one yet, but I'm going to do a little bit more research. But it's mentioned in there as well. So, and that's the bold blend. So for us to be able to take bold action toward love, toward peace, toward serving, that is why this blend was created. And then I added lavender in there to kind of make it more round, but she mentioned patience so many times. Did you hear that? Patience.
Oh, yeah.
Be patient. Be patient. And my husband can give you a whole course on being patient, because if there is somebody I know who's patient, is my husband. Luke is so patient. So lavender is the oil of communication, for you to be able to hear the other side as well. Two-way, right? Communication. And also the oil to give you patience, to give you calm and peace in times that you feel turbulent, you know? So, and that is to make it round and make it smell really good. So bold smells really good as well. Okay. Alessandra said the exact time of New Year's will be March 20th at 12:34 in Brazil and 5:34 in Hawaii. Yeah, we have a 7-hour time difference here.
So early morning then for
Yes.
us. Boy.
I'll be on top of Coco Head at that time.
Maybe I'll join you.
Please come. Okay, my loves. Well, thank you so much for your time, for your love. And I hope you can get something from here and take it to your daily life. And it has been such a blessing to be able to have these tools at hand for myself, for my family, for the people that I love, to navigate this year that I believe is a confusing year, but it's getting clearer and clearer as we navigate this next month, right? So I'm hopeful.
Yeah, thanks for holding
Love
the
you all.
space for us to look towards the
Yes.
future of it as well, like what comes after the chaos, and to offer these tools. Thank you.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
hold on tight, hold on strong, stand your ground. We're always in the light. We just need to stay together, and united we're more powerful. So just stay together. Don't give up. Do not
Keep
give up.
shining.
No giving up. Here.
No giving up.
Yes,
No
love
giving
it.
up. Okay. Aloha.
Aloha.
Talk
Happy
to you all next
Monday.
week.
See you next
Sally.
week.
Much love. Bye.